Hi everyone, my name is Rakshith and welcome back to another video. Well, in this video, we're gonna have a room tour of a new hall residence. Well, I stay in a studio and well, let's go have a look around. So, well, this is the study space within the area, and the way I've made use of my study space is to have a monitor and a laptop set up. A monitor does help, especially when you're writing reports and during your long study sessions. This does help as a reference screen and want to type up the reports. There is a lot of storage space above the study area. It's a good place to keep your books, or well, I keep things of electronic stuff for me to work with. So that's a fun little project that I work on. So yeah, this is the study space, and there's also a little headphone stand that I 3D printed in my own 3D printer that I've got. Under the study area, there are a bunch of drawers. There's a set of 3 drawers, and on my right, there's some storage space next to the bed as well. The drawers is literally, and well, very honestly speaking, a dump for me. So if I want my table to look decluttered, I just dump everything into these drawers. They're not really that organized because I know I'm going to stay here only for a year, and after a year I have to pack everything. One handy tip is, if you are moving or you tend to move very often, pack everything in Ziploc bags. So you can just bring a Ziploc bag, keep it in a drawer, and when you need to move it again, just zip it up, put it in a cardboard box and ship it away. And to my right side is the bed. The bed is, well, it's a bed. Yeah, a single mattress with some storage space in between, the 2 compartments underneath, and you can store plenty stuff. It easily fits a large suitcase, and well, you can fit 2 large suitcases and some stuff underneath. I used it last year to pack to keep all my cardboard boxes that I used for moving into my hall under the bed. If not the bed itself, I would say it's a bit old, it's a bit used. Well, it is what it is. I would recommend getting a mattress protector and putting it on the first thing you move in. And of course, it's single, so make sure you have the right size duvet and bed sheets as well for it. There is a big pin board next to the bed. Feel free to decorate it. Well, I came and I moved in here during my 3rd year, so as a 3rd year student, I just moved in and started to study and get my work done. So I didn't really spend much time on that, other than making a Shelby 3D printed decor that I put up on the board. So well, there is wardrobe space within the accommodation as well, which is quite reasonably sized, to be honest. I just use it as a dump. On the top, I just stuff like my 3D printer filaments, jacket, random stuff that's around my room. Well, you'd expect this to be very organized, but this is what a 3rd year student's shelf looks like. So the kitchen area is fairly reasonably sized. It gets the work done for most part. And for me personally, I've had some really ups and downs in this kitchen. I know a few months after I moved in, my microwave stopped working. Well, despite that happening, the student accommodation team here are fantastic, and I can't praise them enough, because the very same day I reported that there was an issue with my microwave, they came, took it away and got me a new one, and they fixed the problem, and that's something I really appreciate because that was really quick. Well, as of the kitchen, we got an extractor. You can't really control the extractor. It automatically turns on when either the microwave switches are activated or those switches are activated, or even if you're using the hob, in fact. The hob itself is an induction. There are 2 of them. There's one big and one small one. They work quite well. There's a 15-minute auto cutoff timer, which is, I think, quite standard for most accommodations at this point. And there's a switch to control that. I myself, personally, I'm quite okay with how the kitchen is. I cook quite frequently and have had no issues. The only thing I would say is, if you are boiling water or making paratha as well, the steam does and the smoke does get around your room. So what I do is keep my fan and my window open and running so it can get some fresh air in, and that seemed to do the trick for me. Storage space wise, we've got a small cupboard up here where I just store all the spices, salt, general cooking powder, those kind of things. Next to that is another shelf that I use to store my glasses, cooking powders and pastas and that sort of thing, and my utensils, of course. The sink is quite okay sized. I don't think that really matters as much, or it didn't matter for me, because whatever size it is, I'm just something I would work with. You just wash your dishes at the end of the day. That way, I would say the smaller the better, because it fills up faster and it forces you to wash it. Next to that, I've got a drawer under the hob, which I use to store my plates, some disposable cutlery, bowls, that sort of thing. And under that there's another shelf which I used to store the pans, my mixers, blender, onions, flour, just random stuff. Edible stuff dump, as I would like to call it. Next to that is a refrigerator, which I really like. It's got two doors, a separate freezer and fridge. They are, well, it works. I would say it's smaller than my previous accommodation, but it kind of gets the job done. I can hold about 1 week's worth of groceries in there, being someone who cooks quite regularly. But if you bring things like watermelons and things that are a bit bigger, you might have problems so fitting everything in. But yeah, that's the fridge. Next to that, under the sink, I've got a dustbin. They actually give you two bins, one for food waste and the other one for recyclables. So what I've done is I keep my recyclables separate. So I just keep a bag outside and it's like a one-time throw thing, which is a lot messy. And I made my recycling bin into a laundry bin, and I just keep my clothes in the toilet before I have to take it for washing. So it frees up some space for me to keep all my detergents and other chemicals, because I want all my chemicals to be in one place, so that if there is a leak or something, it's a lot more contained than it being all at different places in my room. Yeah. On top of that, on top of the kitchen area, there is some shelving space. I don't think it's dedicated shelving space, but there's just some open space where I've stacked a lot of stuff. I've kept some of my regularly used spices on top, toaster, and a few other things on top of it. There's also some space on top of the cupboard which I've used to keep my cycling helmet as well as my 3D printer box, because when I'm moving house, I'm putting my printer back in my box and sending it away. Well, let me show you my 3D printer, because that's, I think, the best part about my room, because that is what keeps me occupied living in. So well, this is my 3D printer. It's quite big. I just saw that it was an IDEX printer, which means it has two different extruders, so I can print with different colors and different filaments. And well, we can get more technical from there, but it's just some fun hobby thing that I've picked up, helps me pass time, and it's quite related to engineering, so it kind of hits two birds with one stone. And I personally enjoy playing with it, because whenever I've got some free time, or I don't really get into video games as much, so this occupies most of my time, designing stuff on the computer and printing it with my printer. Well, in between the kitchen and the entrance is a small bathroom in the corner. It's a wet room, as they call it here. So it's got a shower, a toilet, and a sink all in one contained space. And there is a shower curtain that separates the shower from the rest of the bathroom. That is just to prevent water from splashing around. It's quite compact. It gets the job done. There's nothing much to complain about it. And yeah, that's what the toilet is. I've had few problems here, like my flush not working and the sink getting clogged quite easily, but the staff here are really quick to respond. So we've got an app called the Home at Halls app. So on that app, if you report the problem, they're usually within the same day come and solve your any of those sort of issues. There are maintenance team on campus 24/7, so they won't come and trouble you in the middle of the night, but if you have an issue, you can always go down to the reception or give them a call, and they are very, very helpful. Well, in addition to all of this, the accommodation also provides a hoover, a vacuum cleaner, and an iron board and an iron for you free of charge. So you just have to give your student card to the reception, and they give you a key that opens a cupboard to get you your vacuum cleaner and your iron and the ironing board. So you don't really need that. And I think there are a few bin bags there as well. I'm not sure if you're meant to take it, but they're there for your bins. So that way the service is really good. So all in all, if you ask me what I think of New Hall accommodation, the room itself, I would rate it as 5 or 6 out of 10. The room is really great, but I think it's a little bit too expensive, and there are far better options for studios in the city than on campus. But for service, I don't think I've seen a better accommodation than this, and I would rate it a 10 on 10. Anytime you have any sort of issue, they're really helpful in sorting it out, whether it be it things like plumbing or if it comes to parcels. I've even had parcels being collected by the reception, and I get a notification that the parcel's been accepted by the reception even before Amazon tells me it's delivered. That's how amazing they are. And when it comes to things like fixing things, they're just where they need to be. They're really quick and really good. So that is my new hall accommodation. That's my room. I haven't really spent much time decorating it or personalizing as much as you would see in other dorm rooms, or maybe my first room as well. So this is how I've done my room. This is what a new hall block looks like. Well, thanks for watching this video.
This old habit's got a hold on me, won't let go of me.